So after the Taliban commander had decided my innocence, the day I'm being released, the mullah comes in and says, do you mind if I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, not at all. He said, you sure you won't take offense? Because it's of a slightly delicate nature. Clearly, this is the one question they wanted to know. Because everyone came into the room and the two guards put their guns down and like children looked up. And I said, all right, what's the question? He said, well, no, don't take offense. So after the Taliban commander, judge, jury, executioner, had decided my innocence, everyone relaxed. And bizarrely, the mullah who brought us up there, who I saw hooded, pleading for his life, beaten up, he appeared back on the scene. Like, turned up just before I was being released. And I was like, you look all right again, improved. What's happened? I don't know what. I think that, I don't know if him being beaten up and interrogated was to, again, mock, to confuse me, that he was clearly, whatever it was, but this mullah turns up. The day I'm being released, and they spent weeks interrogating me. They never, when they interrogated me, saying, sorry about this, they just came in, tell us what you know, tell us what you know. The mullah comes in and says, oh, do you mind if I ask you a question? But like, do you mind? I'm like, yeah, you've asked me a lot of questions. I'm like, yeah, not at all. You know, now at this point, I look like Robinson Crusoe. I've lost whatever it is in American pounds, 3 stone in weight. I'm emaciated, long beard, missing teeth. And I'm sitting on a plastic bin garbage thing. I just turn upside down. I'm sitting on it. And he said, do you mind? Well, he said, do you mind if I ask you? It's slight. He said, you sure you won't take offense? Because it's of a slightly delicate nature. I'm thinking, now you're asking me if I'm going to take offense. You had me in there for 3 months interrogating me. I'm like, no. Of course I won't. Fire away. Clearly, this is the one question they wanted to know, and it wasn't part of their official, but this is what they really want to know, because everyone came into the room. Guards put their gun, and I'll never forget, the family came in, my fix is sitting by my side, and I'm like on the throne, this upside down plastic thing. The mullah's at my feet, and the two guards who put their guns down, and like children looked up. And I said, all right, what's the question? He said, well, no, don't take offense. Because we know in the West about, is it true in the West, women are free to marry animals? And I'm like, and I'm trying to get my head, and I remember you're not supposed to lie. I'm like, wow. But as I'm still getting my head around this question, you went, not just any animals, even small animals. And then I think, at this point, I'm so ready to be released. I'm fed up of being nice with these. And I think in my head, fucking hell, what are these people like? And I wanted to answer, yeah, because we're so corrupt and hedonistic and sick in the West that, yeah, I know lots of women who've married big animals like whales and giraffes, but we draw the line at small animals. I couldn't understand we're not that sick. I'm like, what's the thing about big and small? So I turned to my fixer. I said, "This is fucking." I don't want to get in trouble with it. This fucking woman mad. What's he on about? And my fixer went, "No, I've heard that as well." I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "You're all mad." And I say, but I'm trying not to laugh, and they're all in, like the audience, looking up, like they've all heard this, that women in the West are free to marry animals. And they hear a lot about this, and they're like, they really want to know. So I don't want to upset, I don't get myself killed, or I've just been told I'm free to go. So I'm trying to keep a straight face. I'm like, well, no, I'm not, but and I don't want to, because of course, so I'm saying, well, in the West, we're capable of all sorts of things, Tell me what have you heard, because I'm not quite sure. He said, well, we read a report about a woman. It was so funny because if ever it's true, it could be here. A woman in Holland. I went, aye, the yellow's Dutch to my fixer who's lapping it up. So a woman in Holland read a magazine article. Thought, hang on, suppose you weren't supposed to be looking at photographs. Woman in Holland married a frog. And I was a bit slow because I got other things on my mind that I hadn't twigged at this point. Like, and I went, frog. And then it slowly dawns on me. I said, was there something odd about the frog? And he went, yeah. Thinking I must have read the same article. He said, yeah, it had a crown. I'm not making this up. This is the mullah. Now, what is terrifying? So I then dawned. I realized they confused the Frog Prince fairy tale with reality. What was terrifying was this mullah was, when he was doing, talking to the Taliban fighters, praying with them, he would repeat the story of how Western soldiers, were fucking frogs, basically. That's why you got to fight the Westerner. When I'm talking to, later on in Britain, so they confused the Frog Prince fairy tale, but months later, I'm talking to some British soldiers about this game, and I just mentioned, God, they're so mad, these guys. At one point they thought, the women in the West, they'd read a report about women in the West marrying frogs. He went, oh, this is interesting. Now, this guy went into his office, there was a children's book it was a translation of the Frog Prince fairy tale. From English to Pashtun translation, and it was paid for by USAID as a gift to Afghanistan in the 1960s. And every child in Afghanistan had been given these free fairy tale books to help learn to speak. One of them was the Frog Prince fairy tale of the princess who kisses the frog, he comes back into life as a prince. 50 years later, that fairy tale has been twisted by the Taliban to use as propaganda to justify fighting the Westerner because we fuck frogs. And I'm like, so it's not about injustice, Guantanamo Bay. They think we're marrying frogs. That's why they're fighting us. Anyway, yeah.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the interview. If you got anything out of this video at all, please like the video, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, tell me who you'd like to see on the show. I really appreciate the support. It goes a long way on these platforms, as you guys know. Most importantly, I have some excellent interviews coming up in the future that I'm really, really excited about. So please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. But that's it. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you again soon.